Hi everyone, it's Stephen Strong again with good food, cast iron cookware, and tasty treats. Well, I've been asked a lot of questions since I've been collecting cast iron. How to clean it, how to season it, how to take care of it, how to maintain it, all kinds of questions. So we're going to cover those questions in this little series of videos. I'm going to try to keep them short and simple. So let's get started with Cast Iron Cookware 101. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to cover in our video series of Cast Iron 101 is safety. Number one, we don't want to hurt ourselves in the kitchen. We want to enjoy it. We want to enjoy the food. We want to enjoy the experience. So number one, we're going to start off this series with the most basic thing that we've got to cover is safety. Remember, cast iron is heavier than regular cookware, so it's going to be a chore sometimes to pick it up, especially the large pieces like this big Birmingham stove and range number 14 right here. It is great for cooking a lot of biscuits. It's great for cooking pizza or even lasagna, but it is heavy. So one thing you want to do is make sure that you're careful handling it. The fact that it's heavy and it's very hot when it's been used in the oven. There's many people that have grabbed the cast iron before they thought about it. You get in a hurry. You know, when you're cooking, you're working on a time frame. You're trying to get this done, you're trying to get that done, and before you know it, you will wind up grabbing a hot handle. So make sure that you have the proper gear. Right here, we just have plain old oven mitts. A lot of times, I'll use an oven mitt in my left hand because I'm right-handed, and I'll use a spoon with my right hand. And if I need something, I'll really quick grab a pot holder or something like this, and I will grab one side. That way, I got my hand free to grab a spoon, a spatula, cut on a knob, cut off a knob, do whatever I need to with my right hand. But I'll always make sure that I've got my mitten on my left hand. So if you're left-handed, you can do it the other way around. So be careful because cast iron gets very, very hot. And it doesn't only just get hot in the pan. The handle gets hot. Every aspect, because it's made in one entire piece. Now if you're handling Dutch ovens, remember, not just the pot is hot, the lid gets just as hot as the pot does. So you got to be careful. Along with the bell, you have to make sure that you've got a mitt when you handle the bell because it will be hot. Or if you don't have a mitt, like I said, use a pot holder. Be really careful with it. Don't just try to hurry and grab something. Make sure you know where you're going to set it. Make sure you know where you're going with it because you're not going to want to hold it long because cast iron will go through these after just a few seconds. So you can't just walk around and say, okay, where do I put it? Somebody clear out a spot. You got to have a spot ready. Another thing, because it is hot, we don't want to destroy our tables. So make sure you got something that can handle the heat of cast iron. Have it ready. Make a plan. Know where you're going to put your skillet before you ever take it out of the oven or take it off of the stove. Make sure you got a plan where to go. Make sure you have your mittens on. Make sure you don't get burned. Sadly, I hate to say this, if you cook with cast iron, eventually you're going to get burned. I hope that it's just a little burn, but you're going to touch it with your arm, the back of your hand, before you know it, you're going to get stung. That's just part of it. Like the old saying, if you can't handle the heat, don't get in the kitchen. Make sure the pot holder that you have is big enough for the cast iron. We don't want to wind up doing something like this. This is good for number 3. Actually, it's probably good to set your spoon on the oven. This won't work. You'll wind up spilling your good food. So make sure you got adequate to set your cast iron on. This is another good piece right here. There's all different kinds of styles. You can find them all over the place. Estate sales are wonderful for these things. You can find them everywhere. That's where I found most all of mine. I got another item that I've used for cast iron, and it's really good. Like I said, they kind of open up when you're cooking something like cornbread. When you bring it out of the oven, it's hot. It's hot to the point where if it's plastic, it could melt it. One of my videos I made on Mexican cornbread, if you'll watch the video, you'll see the bottom of my pan. It has a little pattern stuck to it from these pieces right here. So I have learned when I'm cooking cornbread, I always use a metal pot holder because these plastic ones just will not do. Now, if you're cooking something that's just really hot that doesn't come right out of the oven at 500 degrees, something around 300 degrees or 350, these plastic ones will work. If you have something coming out of the oven and it's 500 degrees or 450, make sure that you use metal or ceramic. Or another tip, you can also take a towel. You can also use a towel in a pinch. What you do, depending on the size of your cast iron, also the size of your towel, fold it up large enough for it to sit flat, and there you go. That'll take care of it. That'll keep your table from being burned or your countertop from being burned. And it's a nice, good, solid surface. It's not going to be wobbling. So keep it safe. Another thing when it comes to safety, make sure when you're putting big skillets or big pans in the oven, just be careful because it is heavy. Once you got it full of a casserole or lasagna or a big pan of biscuits, you're adding more weight to it. So be careful. You know, you're going to be carrying a load. Have yourself a plan of action to remove it from the oven or put it into the oven and remove it from the oven to a safe place. Don't just grab it out of the oven and say, okay, somebody show me where to put it. You're going to be setting it back in the oven before you realize it. Here's a big monster number 12 Lodge cast iron Dutch oven, and it is huge. And like I said, I don't know how much it weighs, but it is heavy. But like I said, be careful because these are very heavy. I mean, it's going to take, it's pretty heavy even while it's empty. But just imagine being filled with a pot of baked beans. Now, we usually cook baked beans in this for family get-togethers, and I'm telling you, it holds a lot. I mean, you can actually, you can put a number 8 inside of this one and cover it right up. It's so huge. So, after you fill this thing up full of baked beans, it's going to weigh even more. So there's another thing you got to watch out for when you're using heavy cast iron. When you put it inside the oven, on your oven racks, you know, your oven racks has only been held on by little edges on the sides. When you put that weight in there, it's going to bow it in the middle. And if you don't watch it, you'll bow it to the point where the sides will come loose. So I always make sure that I set it in there really easy. I don't just throw it in there. I just easily set it in. And when I take it out, I make sure I've got my mitts on. Usually when I'm handling a Dutch oven, I go 2 ways. I'll put the mitts on, and I might even get a little carried away and give me some extra safety on top of that. And I'll take it out of the oven. I'll make sure that I'm carefully standing, and I'll grab it by the bell with my right hand, and I'll guide it with my left hand. Because like I said, it is heavy and it is very hot. You don't want to be walking around the kitchen waiting for somebody to clear out a spot for you. I have the little cornstick pans, and I'll put 8 of them in the oven at a time. I have 4 on each row. That way I've got enough to handle a crowd. So those pieces get heavier. You put one in, you don't think it's so heavy. You put another in, it's not so bad. But once you put 4 in there and you look in there and your grate has got a curve, it's just about to go. So be careful. Don't overload your trays in your oven. That is, you know, you don't want to lose a pot of beans inside your oven. That's going to be a mess. I wouldn't want to be the one having to clean that up. I'm sure it's happened, but just be careful. Keep it safe. Try not to get burned. Like I said, it's going to happen. Just hopefully you won't get burned, but just a little. Maybe just a little blister on the back of your hand or something. So be careful. Keep it safe. Use the mitts. Formulate a plan. Make sure that you got something to set your cast iron on when it comes out of the oven. Make sure you have a place to set it. Make sure that you use something that's going to handle the heat. Don't use plastic unless it's lower heat. Make sure you use metal or use a towel, or make sure that you use a ceramic type, something large enough, not too small. Make sure it's large enough for the job. Enjoy your cast iron, take care of it, and it'll take care of you for the rest of your life. Be safe. Like always, if you like my videos and you would like to see more, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, and I will keep them coming. Thanks.